how to capture and submit your work, your offline handwritten work like an essay in high quality to Google Classroom or any other platform for that matter. So while in Google Classroom you can use the cameras, the built-in camera in the phone to attach images as assignments, it's not ideal because it'll end up being multiple files for one assignment, and also modern cameras tend to take very large photos, so there's issues with image size when you're uploading and downloading, and cause you problems on the network for both students and teachers. So the preferred method for many teachers is to use PDF. Now there are lots of ways we can make PDFs. There's third-party apps for your phone like Cam Scanner or Adobe Scan, but in this case I'm going to look at Google's own application called Google Drive. What's good about Google Drive for PDFs is that it makes it very easy to just pick the PDF from your Google Drive to submit it to Classroom. Now if you're using Cam Scanner or Adobe Scan or any of those other apps, it's the same process, but you'll upload it from your phone as opposed to picking it from your drive. So first step is to set up your essay. So something with natural light is good. Ideally, if you have a desk lamp or something, even better, like I have here. And you want to put your document square down in front of your camera, so line it up as best you can. Click on the Drive app, download it if you haven't already got it. Okay, now in Drive I've made a folder called Homework Scan, so to make a new folder in Drive you can just click on the plus, and I'm going to go create new folder, and I'm going to call this one History. Apologies for the focus. Hit create. Now you don't have to do this, but it's nice to be organized. So once you've that done in Drive, click on the plus icon here and you'll see there's the option to scan. So that brings up the camera. So the advantage of using this scanner method as opposed to just taking a normal photo is we can fine tune it afterwards to make sure the image quality is good enough for teachers to read and for you to use later on. So I'm going to take a picture. Keep the camera as directly over the image as you can. Watch out for shadows. You might have to move the page around or the lamp around to avoid shadows, but keep the phone as straight above the page as you can, otherwise it'll get distorted. So that's okay. Don't worry about the fact that it's on the side. We'll fix that in a second. So hit plus, or hit the check mark, sorry. So we've three tools here that we're going to look at. The first one is obvious. We need to rotate it. So this is the rotate button here. So click it. Now it's upright. You'll see there you go. The second one is this one, crop. So this is a common tool in a lot of image editing software. So what happens sometimes with the scan, it misreads what you're trying to scan, and it might only give you a section of a document. So using crop, using these little dots here called handles, you can adjust the capture area to focus on just what you want. So if you've captured bits around the document, or you haven't captured if it's automatically cut off some of the document for you, you can fix it here. So use these dots, drag them around until you're happy with what you have, and then hit done. And the last one is the color adjustment here. So you click on color and it's correctly identified. This is black and white, so you'll see the difference here. If I leave it on color or color drawing, it's not quite as good. Whereas if I set it to black and white, it'll automatically lift the text and make it look much better. So depending on what you're submitting, you might have to play around with that. But black and white, especially if it's a written essay and you've used black or dark blue pens, usually pretty good. Okay, now by default, it gives it the name scanned and the date. So you could change that to history essay or something if you wanted to. I'll leave the date on there so I know when I did it. Hit OK. Now the other thing then is adding multiple pages. So down here I click on plus, and then I can bring in a second page and do the same technique again. Line it up, get it as best I can, square. Don't worry, I can fix it after. Take the image. I'm going to take that again, so click on the retry button there because it wasn't quite as good as it was the last time. So there we go again. I'm happy enough with that, so I click on accept. Then I'm going to rotate it once again, and I'm going to change the color. In this case, yeah, black and white looks good again. Okay, go and hit save then, and you'll see it saves the PDF. So all the pages, no matter how many pages you have there, will be saved into one PDF document, ready to submit on Classroom. So I'm going to switch over to Classroom now. I'm going to go into my history class. I'm going to find the assignment that I need to submit the work for. Then I'm going to bring up the submission box by sliding up this arrow here. And you'll see I can add the attachment. I'm going to add it from Drive. And if you've just scanned it, the easiest way to find it is to go into your recent folder here, because it'll be the last thing you've done. If not, go into My Drive and find your homework folder or whatever folder you created. So here it is, it's the last thing I've done, so it's right here. So I'm going to click on it and hit select, or double click on it, and you'll see the PDF will load. Okay, and then click hand in. Okay, and there you go, you've submitted the PDF. Another technique for submitting would be to create a Google Doc and insert the images in there, because that will shrink down the image size as well. But sometimes a PDF, especially if it's a multi-page document, is quite useful.